not think it or say lies upon lies. God. Kids these days, I tell you. Matt Belman, no respect. No respect from Jordan Klein, but we are live here on MLB Live Before Lock. Welcome, welcome. I am Eric Lindquist here. We are sponsored by DraftKings Pick6. We're going to be covering up to 6:45 p.m. Eastern Time. What is that? 3:45 p.m. Pacific Time. Good times are going to be had by all because Greg isn't here to make fun of me and make me feel less than Jordan Klein is. That's unfortunate. But we got Matt Belman, Matt_Belman. That's incorrect. It's Fantasy Tips, Matt. Should be able to read my own sheet. That is my guy, Matt Belman. Could you tell me? I just got done working with Matt Kajeski. We've had Matt Savoca here. A lot of Matts coming through the streets, that's for sure. But I'm here with my most favoritist. How are you doing, my dude?
Thank you. That means so much. I'm good, man. Happy here now that I'm here talking some MLB with you. We got a good football game tonight, so all is good over here. How about yourself?
Anything you want to say about the football game to put out there in the ether for the people before Live Before Lock, which of course will be, I believe, Greg. Let me double check. I know Lofty for sure will be on that.
Yeah.
Greg and Lofty, look at that. I was correct. I am a genius. Matt, anything you want to throw out there? Any hot takes? Anything you got your eye on?
I don't know how hot of a take this is, but I like Miami to win the game. So there's that.
Oh, but Josh Allen is 6-0 on Thursday Night Football.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't care about shit.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I'm mocking the idea of it, but
I know you are.
He wakes up on Thursdays and he feels refreshed. I don't know what to tell you.
It's always tough to bet against Josh Allen. I don't think Miami rolls here, but I liked what I saw from their defense in the second half of that Jacksonville game. Buffalo, again, a lot of question marks for both teams. So I don't have any strong takes. Wouldn't be surprised at basically any outcome.
Yeah, I like Arizona's offense, so I'm not going to completely downgrade everything we saw, but I do not like Buffalo's defense this season. I do think Josh Allen, there's a reason he was going as the first quarterback off the board. There are some weak cornerback matchups from both sides here. I'm looking at Khalil Shakir in the slot there, over 40.5 receiving yards, even though I ended up getting some nice closing line value, it appears, when I saw what the weather was going to be and took the unders right away on Josh Allen and company. So maybe starting the buyback process and hoping for some middles here very, very shortly. But as I said before, we're going to have Lofty and Greg breaking that down for you in just an hour and a half, a little less than an hour and a half. So be sure to tune into that. But we're, of course, covering MLB. We got 5 games. We got an interesting slate. I think we've had a couple of these short slates on Thursdays that you and I have been covering here recently, but I still kind of like the slate because there's some pitching that we can take advantage of. It. The pitchers that I like are not popular.
Interesting. I'm interested to hear who you like then, because I feel like the best pitchers on this slate, and there's 4 of them, are all the guys getting love. So I'm interested to hear who you like that isn't one of those guys.
Well, Ryan Pepiot is very low owned for my liking, but we'll get there. We'll break it all down for you, of course, but smash the like button, the subscribe button if it is your first time hanging out here in the channel. We're, of course, covering DFS here. Over on the Odd Chopper channel, we're going to be covering all the goodness that is sports betting for the people as well, but I'm ready to dive in. How about you?
Let's get after it.
Let's do it. Starting with the popular pitchers. I'm not saying that I don't like them, but I'm playing a limited number of lineups here. I'm playing some 20 max stuff, playing one big lineup here, and it's not going to have Bryce Miller, Kumar Rocker. It will have Ryan Pepiot, or Pepiot, however you want to say it, and Nestor Cortez is pulling a lot of ownership too. So amongst these 4 guys sitting 8K and above, who are your favorites for tournaments tonight?
Why will it not have Bryce Miller? Just curious.
I kind of like getting to Texas in large field tournaments. One lineup.
That's fair. I get that.
I mean, obviously no Corey Seager sucks, but this is really, really low ownership, and we're not really expecting anything crazy for them to be missing from this lineup outside of course, Corey Seager, who's been out here for a while. But I kind of like getting to Texas today, even in Seattle, which, again, it's the worst ballpark ever, but this is such low ownership.
Yeah, I don't hate it. It's such a small slate. I get that. For me, I don't love the pitching today, but I think Bryce Miller is clearly the top guy. Texas, wouldn't be shocked if they got to him here. He's not like a like a bona fide ace or anything like that, but he's very good. He's especially good at home. Texas has been kind of a dead man walking, especially recently, after losing Seager. They're not going anywhere. It's a 5 matchup. I don't think you have to play him, but considering the options, I do think he's the top guy. I don't love Cortez, but interesting to see him number 2 in the top pitcher tool. I know that he was quite upset about being moved out of the rotation. Now he's back in the rotation, so wouldn't be surprised if he pitches really well here. At home, he's always been better. So he's probably my second favorite. And then I also like Gavin Williams a lot. Again, wasn't good last time out on short rest against the Dodgers. Okay, it's the Dodgers. Now he gets Tampa at home. 7,400. I'm in.
Yeah, I'm definitely in on Gavin Williams. We'll get into him. He's the popular pitcher that I am going to be playing. And then Pepe, same pitcher, same game. For whatever reason, in small field tournaments, people just don't like doing that. And I think it's pretty clear cut that I want to do that. There is lefty power that can play up there at Progressive. It's continued all the live long day. But overall, I find it hard to believe with the wind blowing in there in Cleveland that I'm not going to take shots on a low-owned Ryan Pepiot where we do get Lane Thomas batting 5th there. He's been like one of the issues last year, and the reason a lot of teams didn't want to go acquire him is he's been more of a platoon guy. You play him in there against lefties, against righties. He hasn't really been that special. He hasn't been good at all. But north of a 27% strikeout rate, he's been flat out bad. So there's strikeouts to be had with Lane Thomas, Kyle Mansardo, Bo Naylor in this lineup. The top 4 obviously do not strike out. They never do. They never will. Juan Jimenez, Ramirez, Naylor, they just are immune to it. But I like Pepiot stuff, so we'll break some of that down here too. But Nestor Cortez, this is kind of an interesting one because we're projecting 31.4% ownership. How comfortable do people feel clicking on Nestor Cortez based off of what we've seen lately? And then all of 48 pitches last time out? Kind of a weird one against the Cubs, 4 1/3 innings, pitched in relief. It was a strange situation. I don't know what to make of it, but I mean, this is like 4 days rest and he's being added to the fray and he's pulling ownership.
They moved him out of the rotation and now he's back into it. He said how pissed he was about being moved out.
Yeah.
I think you can expect a full workload from him here if he's pitching well. I do think that it does bring a little bit of cause for pause. Personally, I will say I'm not buying that ownership. Like at least in smaller field, like 555, Montas and Gavin Williams are going to be significantly higher owned than Cortez in my eyes.
I think it's a really hard one to get a grasp on what we should expect. I'm not going to give him a full workload today for what it's worth. It's 4 days rest, 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, and now we're pitching on the 12th. 4 days rest. I can't imagine they're going to let him go 9,500 pitches after going nearly 50 in relief and looking pretty good there. It would be strange to me. We did get news that Rob Refsnyder just got scratched, so that's going to change the complexion of this lineup a little bit, and we know how good he has been. True platoon guy as well, batting 3rd. So we'll see where the cookie crumbles and who they end up putting into. Let me see who I think it's going to be. That's always a fun.
It's Abreu. It's Abreu.
Oh, Will Abreu already in? Okay.
Hitting 8th.
There you go. Yeah, it was going to be Abreu or Masataka Yoshida, but we got Willier Abreu in there today. Platoon guy himself, but now batting 8th. That's kind of an interesting one. Yeah, I'm not sure what to make of Nestor Cortez. I'm going to kind of let the Sims do its thing because it's smarter than I am, which isn't hard to do. But here we are. I am very much behind the idea of trying to get to more if the field is going to be low on him. But if he ends up 31.4% like we have projected, I would be really pissed to be playing him in large field tournaments at that ownership with what we know.
Yeah, I'm with you. No arguments from me on that one.
No Kamar Rocker at all. I mean, this guy has been
it's a workload concern,
but it's a workload concern. That was kind of what I was wondering as well.
That's all it is. I mean, he could strike out 10 guys in 5 innings in this spot, but it's also his first major league game. Like, I think chances are he's more mediocre than either really good or really bad. And with his innings cap at 8,500, kind of need him to be really good. like really good.
Yeah, I mean, for those who don't know, the guy is a very, very highly touted arm. He was the number 3 pick back in the day. I mean, he is it. I mean, you go through his AAA numbers. This is just dumb. 18 strikes. He's only had the 2 starts there, but they sent him from rookie ball to AA ball to AAA ball. Boom, 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 because it was happening too fast. I mean, he's the number 2 prospect in the organization. He's only number 95 in the top 100, but I mean, how does a 1.80 ERA, 0.5 whip in Seattle against Seattle's lineup sound? It sounds pretty good to me if we knew he was going to pitch longer.
Yeah, a couple things. Like, when was that top 100 updated? Because he's been really good this year. I'm not even saying that's wrong, but what?
Oh no, I'm just saying 100%. Like I completely agree with you. Like,
yeah,
that's a bad number considering. Yeah,
yeah,
he's the number 2
and also
prospect for them.
You know what I'll definitely say about him? If you have a lineup that is not doing that well and you have Bryce Miller, I'd have no problem swapping to Rocker at much lower ownership, to give me some life, because Miller's going to be the most popular pitcher on the slate. And there are certainly outcomes where Rocker beats Miller tonight. I mean, there are plausible scenarios where Rocker is just the better DFS pitcher than Miller right now. It's not the most plausible, but it's out there given Rocker's pedigree, how good he's been. It's not like Miller is some DFS ace. That's not the likely outcome though, and he's really expensive for his innings cap. So that's why I'm not playing him, but I think he's intriguing in tournaments.
Yeah, I'm thinking about it. I probably won't play him in anything of crazy substance, but I mean, the stuff looks really, really good. He's got a lot of plus pitches. Prospect report on him is high. Everything I like to kind of use to evaluate prospects is kind of checking boxes. But from a workload concern, yeah, that's the major deal too. You also never know how it translates to the big leagues because they're better at hitting. That's what I've heard.
Even Seattle. I mean, Seattle is not the worst offense in the world. They just strike out a lot. I mean, look at Michael King last night. Like, they hit him around a little bit. So certainly, like, they're good enough to hit around Rocker if his stuff doesn't translate as well as some might think. I agree with you. Go ahead.
No, you're all good. 30 minutes here. I wanted to double check the lineup generator update by itself. Is the lineup generator good to go here? Jordan Klein, I'm going to take a look at that here as we go. I was trying to hit up the dev team if there was any kind of an issue, but yeah, it should be updated on its own. I mean, obviously there's some inputs and things that need to go into it, but yeah, it should be ready to rock. If there's any issue, let me know. What, Jordan? Lineup generator. It says lineup generator, SVT Mike in chat. Just wanted to double check. Yeah, when it updates on our end, we'll get it updated. So we'll get Rev Snyder out of there. We'll add Will Abreu. Everything will be ready to rock for you. So you'll be able to see that it's timestamped, and you'll be able to see, just like in the Sims tool, projections last updated, ownership last updated. But Jordan Klein pulling that up on screen because he is the best producer in the game named Jordan Klein. But yeah, that's the awesome way to be able to save yourself up to 20 lineups at any given time. I would definitely be utilizing that here till the end of the MLB season because, well, people are paying attention to NFL today. I mean, I'm paying attention to NFL too, so I can't exactly blame them. But we're going back to the baseball here. Let's talk some cheapies. I don't see it. I don't see any way around it. Like, Frankie Montas is the most overowned pitcher on this slate relative to his talent level. If he was not in San Francisco, there's no way on God's green earth he would be pulling 30% ownership. But guess what? He's in San Francisco, I suppose. Just give me all the Gavin Williams over Frankie Montas. How is this even a conversation? I don't see Frankie Montas going out and setting the world on fire tonight at 30% ownership. If he does, well, I'll be on fire. Matt, how do you feel about Frankie Montas in San Francisco?
I generally agree with you. Like, I don't see him being someone I have to have either. But I also don't think it's like bad ownership just because of where the slate is. So okay, I'm inclined not to play him, but it's not like the guys I'm playing I feel that good about. Like even your Pepio call out, like you like him because he's good and he's low owned, but it's still not a good spot, even though some of the Cleveland hitters you mentioned, like Lane Thomas, like again, it's maybe a better spot than it might have been earlier, but there just isn't a lot of good spots on the slate, which is why the ownership is concentrated on. Bryce Miller, I think, is going to be much more popular than even we're projecting. I think Gavin Williams will be too. And I'm also with you. Give me Gavin Williams over Montas, but I think Montas has a higher floor, like as he's showed a bunch. Gavin Williams has a low floor. I mean, he just showed it. Higher upside. I think Gavin Williams is definitely the better DFS pitcher, but right now, Montas is probably the better real life pitcher. Just his moxie. He's been in the majors for much longer than Gavin Williams. So again, I'm with you, but I just think it's close.
Okay. Frankie Montas, man, he's been brutality. I mean, across the board, just not good in any way, shape, or form. But I know what you're saying. Frankie Montas giving up hard hit. It's better to give up hard hit in San Francisco. But the San Francisco team has been kind of firing on all cylinders. I kind of like the lineup and its current iteration. I guess I'm just playing low-owned offenses. So I love San Francisco against Frankie Montas.
Yeah, I would definitely.
Yeah,
I like San Fran over Seattle personally. Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, I was gonna say I like Texas, like relative to how much ownership I'm expecting Bryce Miller to get in small field. And so I think it's kind of like de facto I'm going to be playing more Texas than I'm comfortable with, but I think it's the right move long term. San Francisco, I feel actively good about targeting Frankie Montas at this ownership.
Yeah, I meant Texas. I like San Francisco more than Texas. I think that San Fran will be higher owned, but yeah, I mean, again, their lineup looks decent right now. It's just a ballpark thing why I don't like love them, but I like it enough where I don't want to play a high owned Montas. Like, the guy that I kind of like that's not getting love, like is an operative word, is Mitchell Parker. He's like cheap at 6,800, and he's still facing Miami. I know Miami gets a ballpark upgrade, but their lineup stinks. Christian Pache hitting fifth. I mean, I'll say this. As much of a ballpark upgrade that Miami's getting, they're still like not getting much ownership tonight, comparative. And Top Saxwell likes Miami, but isn't like in love with them like New York or Washington. So I could see Mitchell Parker being in play. He's had some spike upside games. He's only 6,800. I don't hate it.
Yeah, Miami, what does it get you rostering Miami today? Like, they're so cheap.
That's fair. That's fair. That's fair.
It becomes a question like Mitchell Parker. We've seen some upside at times for him. This is obviously a piss poor Miami lineup, but I just it just feels like it's a decent enough hitting spot. It feels pretty neutral to me. Whereas, we're getting some really pronounced ownership in other spots. I don't hate the shout out for large field tournaments. I mean, there's only so many options we can go to, and there's only so many ways to get different on this slate, whether that's stack sizing, if you go to like a 4-man or something. Again, I'm letting the Sims tool do a lot of that work, trying to replicate the field, build it out, and I unplug my microphone while I'm at it. There we go. Good job, Eric. We continue on. Anything on the doldrums? Because I think Hayden Birdsong at 25% ownership, I'm far more inclined to click on him than I am Frankie Montas. Is he horrendous against righties? Yes. The answer is very much so. He might be like egregiously bad against them. 287 expected ISO is actually better than his 301 ISO. And that's a 430 pitch sample size. It's not exactly zero. So he is crazy reverse splits this season. 384 WOBA to righties, 314 WOBA to lefties. What are we even doing here, Hayden Birdsong? But he's got strikeout stuff. He's in San Fran, gets to take on Milwaukee that is so feast or famine. And obviously, it feels like Hayden Birdsong's the one guy I'm like okay with ownership that's sub 8K. Gavin Williams, I think, should be higher owned. Frankie Montas, I think, should be lower owned. Mitchell Parker is probably too low owned. Cooper Criswell, you should have zero of. And Darren McCuffin, stop it. So Hayden Birdsong, I'm just fine with. Anything that you want to talk about with him?
I don't really know why. I guess I understand why you like him more than Montas. He's cheaper, higher strikeout upside, but much more spot. Like as okay as San Francisco's lineup might be, it's still not as good as Milwaukee. So I feel similarly about Birdsong and Montas. I don't think there's that much of a difference between them. I think Montas is in a much better spot for a win. Those points matter on slates like this. I think he's in much like Birdsong gets pulled early. He's 6,300 on a slate without great pitching options. But to me, I think there's reasons to like Birdsong and Montas, and there's reasons not to like them.
Yeah, the reason to not like Birdsong is he walks everybody under the sun. He's like basically a dog walker out there, just gets the buzz on the phone, goes, picks up the dog, and goes for a long walk and takes everybody with him. I mean, what is this? 3 walks, 4 walks, 4 walks, 5 walks in his last 4. He's ran himself into some massive jams where then San Francisco, when they've got their bullpen to utilize and coming off of like Snell outings, they've had a lot of bullpen opportunities here other than, the time Snell went out and decided to get out of there in the first inning. They basically can go to that bullpen. Plus, San Francisco started to pack it in. So yeah, what you're saying with Birdsong makes sense. 77 pitches his last time out, but I think it had more to do with the 5 walks, and I think the bases were jammed when they pulled him, or it was like right next to it. It was like
it's multiple times though, like against Oakland. I mean, they just do not have him on a long leash. Like he can get there in strikeouts, but I'm worried about the leash personally.
Completely understood. Completely understood. But strikeout upside has me getting to a decent amount of him. As I'm redoing the sim here, I got my first sim run in without Ref Snyder in there because that was going to matter. Very curious to see what I end up getting. And wouldn't you know it, Hayden Birdsong is my highest owned pitcher. I had a feeling that was going to happen. It was going to happen. It was going to happen. I don't want that. I'm going to have to change that. But the sim's smarter than I am, so it absolutely loves Hayden Birdsong today. I don't know what to tell you.
I mean, he's 6,300 on a slate without great pitching, and he's striking out 27.5% of hitters. So, like, given the ownerships, I get it. I mean, yeah, I don't think it's a bad play. I just don't think he looks that much different than, the other guys we like on this slate. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like, I don't feel great about it, but again, the Sims are smarter than me too. So maybe it's a me thing.
Yeah, I'm going to cap him at 50%, but I'm going to roll out double the field. It would look like AJ Worse. Yeah, Bryce Miller. Why is his K prop not as good as the other high owned pitchers on the slate? 5.5 juice to the under. Because Bryce Miller isn't like some out of control strikeout artist by any means. He's in the best pitcher's park in baseball. He does have a 23.8% K rate, so it's not nothing. Texas, there's going to be guys who strike out a lot in that lineup. Adolis Garcia, Nate Lau, decently enough. Josh Young, I'm assuming to be in there, but yeah, it's still a spot where you're looking for some type of security. Like Bryce Miller, it's hard to imagine him killing you on this slate, but for me, I just like getting to Pepio to get a little bit different and save even more money to get to some of the expensive stacks that, again, I think a lot of people are going to be forcing in the same type of iterations of New York. Washington is our highest owned stack here on today's slate, which is just so wild, but we'll get into why with this Darren McCubbin fellow and who's coming after him. But Hayden Birdsong, you can still stack against him. You can still play some Hayden Birdsong. I'm going to be playing both sides of that one pretty heavily.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you there. No arguments at all.
Anything else with pitching? 20 minutes before lock.
No, I think that's all we got here.
Cool. We'll jump over to FanDuel quick to at least give them the discussion point that is Frankie Montas being the most popular pitcher on FanDuel.com. What a time to be alive. I should have played more over there today. I have one lineup that I rolled out, but that one lineup, surprise, does not have Frankie Montas in it. Can you guess my pitcher on FanDuel, and who's your favorite to get to on FanDuel today?
Can I guess your favorite pitcher on FanDuel? It is going to be given the price tags, I'm gonna say Gavin Williams.
It's definitely Gavin Williams. 7,500 for Gavin Williams against Tampa Bay. Come on now. That's just a bad price, bad tag. And I'm getting him lower owned than Frankie Montas, which makes absolutely no sense to me. So I am going to be rolling with some Gavin Williams over on FanDuel.com in my one lineup. And I think you should be in large field too. He's my favorite to get to. I don't really think you have to go further down the board. I mean, between Rocker, McCubbin, Criswell, Parker, Grind Pepiot, maybe I take a shot if I were to play more than one lineup, but I mean, Gavin Williams just sticks out like a sore thumb to me.
Yeah, I'm with you. And I'm kind of with you on Birdsong too. Like, I don't know, his pitch count has gone up a little bit. They gave him extra rest for this start. So that can't hurt him as far as his pitch count goes. Like, who knows if it helps him, but I mean, I'm with you. He's 6,300 and he looks similar to the other guys. I'm playing one lineup tonight. Might play him.
Ooh, okay. I'm telling you, I think I'm probably going to get off of Pepiot and go to Birdsong now and just play the back game.
It's more
in my
of a product.
lineup.
I don't like the other pitchers. So like 6,300 gets you so much.
Yeah, I mean, The Sims has been giving me more hate in Birdsong since the beginning of time, and I think that makes a lot of sense. He's just so cheap. Milwaukee's just had my soul all season long, so I fully expect them to smash. So my main lineup will be Birdsong. I think I'm gonna have to make a secondary stack in like the $15 and a couple of other spots where it's like, all right, let's roll out some Milwaukee just in case, because well, otherwise I'm not going to be watching baseball tonight. Although I know a lot of people won't be watching baseball as is. Let's jump to the stack side of the program. But first, DraftKings Pick6. This is the best possible place to be playing for Pick'em. If you have Pick6 available in your state, and I know there's a lot of states that have legal sports betting, such as North Carolina, that also have Pick6 available to them. Tennessee, I believe, maybe they just got it, or I know for a fact North Carolina just got it. So if you have signed up yet, great, awesome. You'll know exactly what I'm talking about. If you haven't yet, use promo code Lindy, Lindy. That is me. And you can utilize that to get up to $50 when you deposit just $5 or more on your first pick set. So you play $5, you get 50. That's a 10x return on your money. Look at that. I'm good at math. But then also $50 in Pick6 credits on Thursday Night Football comes back to you tonight if you don't win. So you could bet 5, instantly get 50, put that 50 down on Pick6 tonight for NFL, and then get it back in the event that it loses. That is an unbelievable opportunity today over on DraftKings Pick6. So you're just kind of silly if you haven't signed up and utilized it yet. This is peer-to-peer pick'em. This is an awesome opportunity to jump over and watch as some of the lines are moving and potentially think, hey, maybe people are playing too much of this player and I like less on it. Like maybe Tyreek Hill, I suppose, who's at 93.5. That's lower than where it sits at 95.5 and 94.5 respectively from the morning show that I did this morning with Jordan Klein and Eitan Shander covering Underdog and PrizePicks as well. But what makes Pick6 better? It's peer-to-peer. You have an opportunity to play against other people, and that is at the core of fantasy sports. So bet 5, get $50. Also tonight for the Buffalo at Miami game, $50 coming back to you in Pick6 credits if those picks do not win. Also, from the baseball perspective, thought I'd throw this one in there for you. There are some really interesting lines, specifically Jose Ramirez. I love Ryan Pepe. I talked about it before, but you get him and Josh Naylor, 1.5 hits plus runs plus RBIs. I mean, that is just such a low line. You can cross-reference that over on OddsShopper and look at where it's at sportsbooks. As much as I like him, I have to absolutely be utilizing a little bit of Jose Ramirez. We also have Jalen Duran. Don't know why I can't ever say his name. Jarren Duran. There you go. 1.5 hits plus runs plus RBIs. He's batting leadoff with that same exact number. I mean, unbelievable opportunities on Pick6 to rack up some winners today. Tyler O'Neill now batting cleanup there. 1.5 hits plus runs plus RBIs. I might have to just fire up a card here on all of this goodness because these are some low numbers we're looking at. So check out Pick6, promo code LINDY. Look at that. I can spell my own nickname. Y'all, let's jump to the stacks portion of the program. Matt Belman, one lineup to rule them all and one lineup to find them. Who are you utilizing in your one lineup as your 5-man stack on DraftKings.com?
It's tough because I feel like New York and Washington looked like by far the best, but I'm worried about their ownership. So
me too.
Between them, I like New York. They're hard to get to, and I'm willing to spend down on pitching, but there isn't really expensive pitching on the slate, so it's not like they'll be hard to stack. Man, I'm going to say New York, but, basically any other offense besides New York and Washington is going to be pretty low owned. So I like the idea of taking the field there, whichever one it is, Boston, Cleveland. It's either good offenses against tougher pitchers or bad offenses against, either good or bad or unknown pitchers. So there isn't a really good spot outside of Washington and New York. So I'm going to say New York, and then my next favorite would be, I'm going to say Miami. As much as I said about Mitchell Parker, like it is a massive ballpark upgrade for Miami. They're really cheap, and because you don't need it as much today, they're not going to be owned. So yeah, I could see myself getting to some Miami here. Like they're coming in with the way highest leverage on the board. I didn't even realize that. Yeah, I'm about it. I'm about it.
Yeah, I think Miami looks pretty darn good. I'm looking at my lineups over here in the Sims, and it is pretty clear cut to me that Washington is standing out relative to what I was expecting them to. And Miami on the other side of it too. Connor Norby, somebody who's popping for me, getting to a lot of this Washington-Miami game in general. I mean, you look at the game environments starting to change in some places. Wind blowing in Cleveland, wind blowing across in Yankee Stadium, but Yankees going to pull Yankee ownership. Kind of like getting to Boston on the other side, even against Nestor Cortez. And then Seattle, terrible ballpark. San Francisco, terrible ballpark. So amongst the ballparks and game environment, you get two subpar pitchers and then just a subpar bullpen and baseball team in general here on the Miami side. I think Darren McCuffin is going to be in for a little bit of a fluffing here in this spot. How does that sound?
It sounds great to me. I'll say this about Miami. Hard to stack them. Can't use the first three hitters in their lineup together.
Right.
Because they're all either first or third base eligible. That sucks.
Does suck, but I think, yeah, I'm pretty okay with Jordan Klein had to pull up that. You had to, didn't you? You had to? There was no other option other than to post it. So anyway, Miami and Washington are in the best hitting environment out of any team potentially on this slate that isn't pulling like crazy ownership like we're getting with the New York Yankees. Okay, cool. Well, I like Milwaukee going up against Birdsong as well. It's not like I'm trying to beat the bush for Hayden Birdsong or whatever the hell. I'm just tilted. 10 minutes to go. Hit the like button, everybody. This is fun. Connor Norby, yes. Angel Reef's BF, Jalen Duran. Yeah, that's a weird thing to say. I don't know. Are they buddies? I don't know if they are or not. That'd be crazy. I doubt it. Anyway, let's jump over to the other stacks here. Anything else on a low owned perspective that you
Angel
got your
Reese
eye on?
Who?
I don't know. They said Angel Reese's BF, Jalen Duran.
Jaron Duran from the Pistons.
There you go.
Jaron Duran is the one. Yeah, now you're confusing me. Jalen Duran's the one from the Pistons. Jaron Duran is
there
the
we
one
go.
from the
That's
Red
why
Sox.
my brain couldn't get over that.
Yeah.
It is what it is. Don't mind me. Just living the life because I got to know. Any one-offs that you got your eye on? We can talk about one-offs. I really don't care anymore. Jordan Klein's killed my life.
A lot of good plays on this slate.
Yes.
Again, I think anyone but New York or Washington is going to be pretty contrarian. You called out the Cleveland guys, Naylor and J Ram. I like them. I think Trevor Story looks good in the 6-hole. Always massive power, upside, and speed against lefties. So 3,700. I like him as a one-off.
Yeah, I like him as a one-off too. No doubt about it. Gleyber Torres, Jonah Bride playing as one-offs in a main lineup or one of my main lineups. And yeah, I think Wilyer Abreu too, somebody to just throw in. I know he's a lefty. He was 4,100 and way overpriced, but I always like getting to the 0.1% owned guy when you get to the flip here in, what is it? Yeah, 9 minutes. I doubt we see Wilyer Abreu get to regular ownership with the rest of the stack of Boston. He has power. He's not great against lefties, obviously, but that's why he wasn't in the lineup to begin with today. But maybe just the low ownership can justify getting to him in some stacks here. Otherwise, he's got like a sub 100 expected ISO against lefties. He's terrible for the most part. It's probably a terrible idea overall. But hey, he's not going to get pinch hit for. Can't get any worse than left on left here. And you never know. You just never know. Let's continue on our merry way because I saw that was posted in chat too. Nothing like making fun of me there too. Any stack that you're vehemently against at their ownership?
No, I mean, I don't really want to play Washington, but then again, I really want to play Washington. Like if ownership weren't a thing, they're the best stack on the board. So it's tough. I mean, it's always the old adage in MLB DFS. So probably the answer is Washington, but I think they're the top stack on the board. So hard for me to say that with too much conviction.
Yeah, I don't like getting to Seattle. I think even if I were playing 150 today, I would get very, very limited trace amounts of them, which is strange because it's a 5-game slate where you look at some of these lower owned teams. I'd be far more inclined to get to the Texas side on the other side. I just don't like the idea of going up against a top prospect who has a short leash already and then having this turn into a bullpen situation in the best ballpark to prevent power in baseball. Or not power, but runs. Sorry.
No, that's totally fair. I have no arguments with that.
Let's jump to FanDuel.com, my friends. FanDuel, we're getting kind of similar stuff. Washington, New York, they're both going to be showing up here. Obviously, New York on FanDuel, just constant. It's just constant. They're the highest owned team like on every single slate that we cover over here. But Milwaukee, Miami, Cleveland, all of them pulling sub 10% ownership. We have more than 2/5 of the field going to the Yankees or Washington as a four-man. I gotta say, I don't completely disagree with the New York side. I gotta say Washington, a little surprising to see them up there, although again, they're the popular team on DK. I just kind of like getting to the five-mans there. The four-man, feels like I'm getting to a little bit more Cleveland when I was running the Sims earlier for it. My one lineup is Cleveland four-man combined with the Yankees four-man. But anything that you find to be standing out to you on FanDuel relative to DraftKings?
No, it looks very similar. I think that, yeah, I like the Yankees over Washington there as well, but they're both going to be really highly owned. So, yeah, I think my favorite contrarian offense on both sides is going to be Boston. I don't love them. I respect Cortez, especially at home, but their lineup's pretty good. And Cortez, pitchers, whenever they get off their rhythm, like Cortez now bouncing back from the bullpen to the rotation, I don't love that for anyone. I expect him to pitch well here, but I don't love that for him. So I think Boston, given the ownership, think they'll get the Yankees and Nationals look a lot better on paper, but you're getting a massive ownership discount on Boston, the guaranteed 9 at bats. I'm interested, to say the least.
I'm interested too. Definitely going to stand with you there. Yeah, I really don't have anything else to talk about here. We kind of covered a 5-game slate pretty in depth, talked someone else on DraftKings as well. I had Jordan Klein over there. Did we pull up any of the we could go to the single lineup simulator to round out the show if we wanted to. We could build one lineup going back and forth. That'd be kind of fun. I think that'd be fun. Let's build a Washington one because I think Abrams, Cruz, I'm just looking at the top of my lineups here. Keibert, Ruiz there in the catcher position, but let's do a snake draft-ish where I pick one, you pick two, and then I'll pick two the rest of the way. Then you pick two the rest of the way, so on and so forth until we have ourselves a lineup. I will start. I will click on Gavin Williams. I know we both like him as a pitcher. Why don't you pick our SP2 and our catcher?
Okay, is this for DK?
Oh, yeah, for DK, single lineup simulator.
All right, I'm going to go. Let's do Birdsong for this.
Oh, love. Gavin Williams, Birdsong. Oh, all right, let's do a catcher. You get to fire this one up. I said snake draft.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm going to go with Jordan's boy, Connor Wong.
Oh, so we're going to go maybe Boston, get naughty. We could do that. We could also start doing Anthony Rizzo. We're going to go Anthony Rizzo. And then at the 2-hole, Gleyber Torres.
Okay. Yeah, since you're going kind of cheap and we have a ton of money, give me Devers.
We're not going to have a lot of money for long. Rafael Devers. Yeah.
And Story.
And Story. Love that. So now we've got Connor Wong along with it. So do I want to go 5-man Boston or do I want to go 5-man Yankees? This is going to be an interesting one because I don't know if we have enough. I want to get Jason Dominguez in there. So we're going to go Yankee 5-man, then Stanton. And let me see, how much money do we have left over? We should have enough to go to the big bopper, Aaron Judge, to finish it out. So Aaron Judge, Stanton, Jason Dominguez to finish it out, Jordan. I would like to see that simmed. I think that looks fun for a 5-3 here on this lovely, lovely day that we have before us. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, brother.
I'll just say this, especially if you're playing one lineup and you're playing, it's just really hard to win with teams like Washington and the Yankees in large field tournaments. So, I don't think that Boston looks as good as those teams, but I'm only playing one lineup, like I said, all the contests have filled, etc. I'm either like I can't even decide who I like better between the Yankees or Washington, so I'm just not going to play either of them.
Okay, that's fair to do too. I mean, we could go to Boston and round that out as the five man. Take off Judge and take off Stanton,
No,
Jordan.
I'm just talking about for
Oh,
myself personally. I'm not
for
talking about
yourself
for this
personally.
lineup. Yeah.
Got it. Got it. Got it. I was going to say we could go Duran. We could go Tyler O'Neill and try to get a little bit different with it. But again, that's the fun of the single game simulator is like I just have been doing that for NFL over and over and over. And I found some really nice lineups for week one. Didn't end up binking anything, but found myself onto some Alec Pierce as well for the deep shots. Obviously, highly volatile. There are certain plays with like Iashivas, and we can definitely see from a game theory perspective, just swapping those two out potentially and going to different iterations of cheap wide receivers where the volatility is still going to be there. But that does it for us, friends. We got to do our home runs out the door here. Matt Belman, who is going to take a yard tonight?
I'm gonna go with the guy I called out earlier, Trevor Story, going yard.
That's a nice shout out. I don't mind that one whatsoever. How about we get a little freaking naughty? I think he needs to do it. I think he needs to hit his first. Jason Dominguez goes yard for the New York Yankees tonight. Switch hitter especial. Good to see him back up with the Yankees. I think he's going to be a fun piece for them for years to come. Hasn't shown up yet. I think he's going to go completely nuclear tonight. So that'll be fun. Who is there? Oh, Nate goes Jason Dominguez. There we go. Story is my home run pick for Malakar, Michael Sorek, Romy G. Gallo, 4 home runs or 4Ks from Michael Sorek. That sounds about right. Yeah. So that's going to do it for us, friends. That is almost said NFL. MLB Live Before Lock. Check out NFL Live Before Lock coming your way in less than 45 minutes or right at 45 minutes here. What is it, 30 minutes? Yeah, it starts at the 15. At 15. We got Mr. Loffy, Mr. Greg Ehrenberg. Going to be awesome to have them. Thank you, Jordan Klein. He's going to stick around here. No soup for you. You've got to stay around with us. Until next time, friends, I'm Eric Lindquist. Go follow Matt, Fantasy Tips Matt over on X.